I mean, there's a lot of other things it's really good at, but this idea of the AI can write software for anything, and that means that you can express ideas in new ways, that the AI can do very advanced things. It can do, it can like, in some sense, you could like ask GPT-4 anything, but because GPT-5 is so good at programming, it feels like it can do anything. Of course, it can't do things in the physical world, but it can get a computer to do very complex things. And software is this super powerful, way to like control some stuff and actually do some things. So that for me has been the most striking. It's much better at writing. So this is like, there's this whole thing of AI slop, like AI writes in this kind of like quite annoying way. And
M dashes.
we still have the M dashes in GPT-5. A lot of people like the M dashes, but the writing quality of GPT-5 is gotten much better. We still have a long way to go. We want to improve it more, but like, a thing we've heard a lot from people inside of OpenAI is that, man, they started using GPT-5. They knew it was better on all the metrics, but there's this like nuanced quality they can't quite articulate. But then when they have to go back to GPT-4 to test something, it feels terrible. And I don't know exactly what the cause of that is, but I suspect part of it is the writing feels so much more natural and better.
I, in preparation for this interview, reached out to a couple other leaders in AI and technology and gathered a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So this next question is from Stripe CEO Patrick Collison.
This will be a good one, I'm sure.
Read this verbatim. It's about the next stage, what comes after GPT-5. In which year do you think a large language model will make a significant scientific discovery? And what's missing such that it hasn't happened yet? He caveated here that we should leave math and special case models like AlphaFold aside. He's specifically asking about fully general purpose models like the GPT series.
I would say most people will agree that happens at some point over the next 2 years, but the definition of significant matters a lot. And so some people's significant might happen, in early 25. Some people might maybe not until late 2026. Sorry, early 2026. Maybe some people not until late 2027. But I would bet that by late 27, most people agree that there has been an AI-driven significant new discovery. And the thing that I think is missing is just the kind of cognitive power of these models. A framework that one of the researchers said to me that I really liked is, a year ago, we could do well on like a basic high school math competition, problems that might take a professional mathematician seconds to a few minutes. We very recently got an IMO gold medal. That is a crazy, difficult,
Could you explain what that means
that's
for
kind
people?
of like the hardest competition math test. This is something that like the very, very top slice of the world, many, many professional mathematicians wouldn't solve a single problem. And we scored at the top level. Now, there are some humans that got an even higher score in the gold medal range, but we like, this is a crazy accomplishment. And each of these problems, it's like 6 problems over 9 hours. So 1.5 hours per problem for a great mathematician. So we've gone from a few seconds to a few minutes to 1.5 hours. Maybe to prove a significant new mathematical theorem is like 1,000 hours of work for a top person in the world. So we've got to go from, another significant gain. But if you look at our trajectory, you can say like, okay, we're getting to that. We have a path to get to that time horizon. We just need to keep scaling the models.
The long-term future that you've described is superintelligence. What does that actually mean? And how will we know when we've hit it?
If we had a system that could do better AI research than, say, the whole OpenAI research team. Like if we said, okay, the best way we can use our GPUs is to let this AI decide what experiments we should run. Smarter than like the whole brain trust of OpenAI.
Yeah.
And if to make a personal example, if that same system could do a better job running OpenAI than I could. So you have something that's like, better than the best researchers, better than me at this, better than other people at their jobs, that would feel like superintelligence to me.
That is a sentence that would have sounded like science fiction just a couple of years ago.
It still
and now
kind of does, but you can like see it through the fog.
Yes. And so one of the steps, it sounds like you're saying, on that path is this moment of scientific discovery, of asking better questions, of grappling with things in a way that expert level humans do to come up with new discoveries. One of the things that keeps knocking around in my head is if we were in 1899, say, and we were able to give it all of physics up until that point and play it out a little bit, nothing further than that. Like at what point would one of these systems come up with general relativity?
Interesting question is, did you like, if we think about that forward, like if we think of where we are now, should us if we never got another piece of physics data,
Yeah.
do we expect that a really good superintelligence could just think super hard about our existing data and maybe say like solve high energy physics with no new particle accelerator, or does it need to build a new one and design new experiments? Obviously, we don't know the answer to that. Different people have different speculation. But I suspect we will find that for a lot of science, it's not enough to just think harder about the data we have, but we will need to build new instruments, conduct new experiments, and that will take some time. Like that is the real world is slow and messy and, whatever. So I'm sure we could make some more progress just by thinking harder about the current scientific data we have in the world. But my guess is to make the big progress, we'll also need to build new machines and run new experiments, and there will be some slowdown built into that.
Another way of thinking about this is AI systems now are just incredibly good at answering almost any question. But maybe one of the things we're saying is it's another leap yet. And what Patrick's question is getting at is to ask the better questions.
Or if we go back to this kind of timeline question, we could maybe say that AI systems are superhuman on 1 minute tasks,
Mm.
but a long way to go to the 1,000-hour tasks. And there's a dimension of human intelligence that seems very different than AI systems when it comes to these long horizon tasks. Now, I think we will figure it out, but today it's a real weak point.
We've talked about where we are now with GPT-5. We talked about the end goal or
Yeah.
future goal of superintelligence. One of the questions that I have, of course, is what does it look like to walk through the fog between the two? The next question is from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. I'm going to read this verbatim. Fact is what is. Truth is what it means. So facts are objective. Truths are personal. They depend on perspective, culture, values, beliefs, context. One AI can learn and know the facts, but how does one AI know the truth for everyone in every country and every background?
I'm going to accept as axioms those definitions. I'm not sure if I agree with them, but in the interest of time, I will
Please.
just take them. I will take those definitions and go with it. I have been surprised. I think many other people have been surprised too about how fluent AI is at adapting to different cultural contexts and individuals. One of my favorite features that we have ever launched in ChatGPT is the sort of enhanced memory that came out earlier this year. Like it really feels like my ChatGPT gets to know me and what I care about and like my life experiences and background and the things that have led me to where they are. A friend of mine recently, who's been a huge ChatGPT user, so he's got he's put a lot of his life into all these conversations. He gave his ChatGPT a bunch of personality tests and asked them to answer as if they were him, and it got the same score as he actually got, even though he'd never really talked about his personality. And my ChatGPT has really learned over the years of me talking to it about my culture, my values, my life. And I have used, I sometimes will use it in like, I'll use like a free account just to see what it's like without any of my history. And it feels really, really different. So yeah, I think we've all been surprised on the upside of how good AI is at learning this and adapting.
And so, do you envision in many different parts of the world people using different AIs with different sort of cultural norms and contexts? Is that what we're saying?
I think that everyone will use like the same fundamental model, but there will be context provided to that model that will make it behave in sort of personalized way they want, their community wants, whatever.
I think when we're getting at this idea of facts and truth, and it brings me to this seems like a good moment for our first time travel
Okay.
trip. Okay, we're going to 2030.